The story begins with the sound of wind whistling through an empty field, and the faint echo of footsteps, slow, hesitant, approaching a lonely house at the edge of nowhere. My name is Miriam, and I'm 34 years old. 2 years after my husband passed away, I left the city behind. I thought if I found silence, maybe I'd find peace. I bought an old house on the outskirts of a forgotten village. Its walls were cracked, the paint peeling and the windows thick with dust. But something about it felt alive, like it was calling my name. The neighbors warned me. Old woman, Hussein, said, "No one stays there long, dear. The Salem family's house doesn't like strangers." I laughed. I thought it was just village superstition. I was wrong. The first night was silent. The second wasn't. I started hearing whispers, faint, distant, like a conversation happening behind the walls. Sometimes they stopped the moment I turned my head. Sometimes they called my name. On the third night, I was making tea in the kitchen when I heard it, a clear voice behind me. "Miriam, turn off the stove." I froze. No one was there. Seconds later, the kettle boiled over, and fire sparked from the stove. That was the night I realized. The house was listening. A few days later, I noticed faded marks behind the mirror in the hallway. Words, written in pencil, barely visible. "Listen before it leaves." I couldn't shake the feeling that the message was for me. At the village hall, I asked about the house's history. They brought me an old file. It belonged to Ismail Salem, a man who lost his wife and daughter in a mysterious fire 12 years ago. He died 2 months later, alone. But the police report mentioned something chilling. Neighbors claimed they heard voices shouting the night before the fire, warning them to leave. That night, I set my phone to record audio while I slept. The next morning, I pressed play. A man's whisper came through the static. "Miriam, don't open the door on your right." My heart nearly stopped. There wasn't a door on my right. Not in that room. But later that day, I moved a large wooden cabinet and found a hidden door, sealed shut with rusted nails. I pried it open. The smell of earth and rot filled the air. Inside was a small dark room. No windows, just an old locked box covered in dust. Inside the box was a black notebook. Its first page was titled, "Confessions of the House." Every page contained a single line, written in the same elegant handwriting. I heard them fighting. I tried to warn them. The fire wasn't mine. I was only trying to protect them. It was written in the first person, as if the house itself was speaking. That night, a violent storm rolled in. The doors slammed on their own. The whispers turned to screams. "Miriam, leave now!" I ran toward the front door. Locked. Smoke began to fill the kitchen again, flames flickering under the doorway. I coughed, stumbled, tried to open a window. And just before I blacked out, a voice whispered right beside my ear, "I'm not your enemy. I'm saving you." I woke up in a hospital bed. The doctor said my neighbors found me unconscious after they saw smoke coming from the house. The fire department told me something strange. The flames started in a room that didn't exist on the house's blueprints. Days later, a police officer visited me. He handed me a burned notebook. Most pages were ashes, except one. Only one line remained. I saved the last one. Months passed. I moved to a small apartment back in the city. Life was quieter now, but sometimes, late at night, I scroll through my old audio files, and in one of them I still hear the same whisper, Miriam. The door on the right is still there,